Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of H.R. 1435, the Preserving Choice in Vehicle Purchases Act. I'd like to thank Congressman John Joyce for his leadership on this bill. You know, the electrification or nothing timeline of this administration is far ahead of what is possible, practical, and affordable. Giving California authority to dictate to the transportation industry for almost half the nation is just another tool of this administration is using to force EVs onto the American people. Fuel distribution for our transportation industry was built over the course of 100 years. It's not reasonable to assume the same can be done for an EV industry just in a few short years. While this administration seeks to mandate and subsidize electric vehicles at every turn, they lack any sense of a coherent plan to put this into reality. EV inventories are piling up on dealer lots because, simply put, nobody's buying them. This legislation would make important strides to protect Hoosiers' ability to choose the car that they think best fits their family. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back.
I reserve. Speaker, pleased to yield 1 minute to the gentle lady from Arizona, Ms. Lesko.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of the Preserving Choice in Vehicle Purchases Act. When I first read the Biden administration's plan to increase fuel standards, which requires 67% of all new vehicles manufactured be all electric by 2032, I was appalled. This plan does nothing to benefit America and everything to benefit our greatest adversary, China. Electric vehicle batteries require at least 1,000% increase in materials extracted from the earth compared to a gasoline-powered vehicle. Well, who dominates the extraction and processing of these materials? You guessed it, China. Nearly all the growth in mining to meet this demand is expected to come from offshore, non-U.S. mines. Who has been buying these mines? You guessed it, China. China is the only one who stands to benefit from this drastic change in policy, and American consumers will suffer. I ask my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back.
This is it, friends. They are finally taking action. Republicans in the House of Representatives have just released a brand new short-term bill. This legislation would help avert a government shutdown until October 31st. But this plan will include major spending cuts. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video for the latest breaking news in Congress. Also, to say thank you for being part of this community. Every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several on my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dearest friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Two critical factions of the House Republican Conference reach an agreement on a bill to avoid a government shutdown for another month, cutting discretionary spending for the duration, along with the bulk of a House GOP bill to change major policies. The hope is to bring the continuing resolution deal, crafted by leaders in the Main Street Caucus and House Freedom Caucus, to the House floor this week. The deal would avoid a looming October 1st shutdown by funding the government through October 31st, keeping Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs at current levels, while cutting all discretionary spending by 8%. Also, in addition, the agreement is to pass an appropriations bill to fund the Department of Defense for fiscal 2024, in tandem with a continuing resolution bill. However, it is worth noting that should this legislation pass in the House, it could get rid of major internal GOP challenges for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy It is unclear whether the bill will receive enough votes to pass the House. Without any Democratic support, Speaker McCarthy can afford no more than 4 defections. Republican Representative Tim Burchett told The Hill that he will not vote for the legislation, adding that he does not think that it has the votes to pass. And Representative Ralph Norman laid out a series of questions following the proposal, bringing up the longtime requests from hardline conservatives to further cut top-line spending across all 12 appropriation bills. Congressional leaders of both parties and chambers are aiming to pass a continuing resolution to buy more time to complete the appropriations process through regular order, which includes passing all 12 appropriation bills and getting them signed into law. Both chambers, however, are far behind. The House has only cleared one measure, and the Senate has passed none, but the clock is ticking. Included in the debt limit deal signed into law in June was a provision that said, if all 12 appropriation bills are not passed by January 1st, 2025, a 1% cut would be made across the entire board. Upping the pressure is the fact that the two chambers marked up their bills at different levels, setting the scene of a House versus Senate clash that could once again bring Congress to the brink of a government shutdown. The Senate is marking up its bills in line with the caps set in the debt limit deal, plus roughly $14 billion in additional emergency funding, while the House is moving ahead at levels far lower than the debt limit agreement. Speaker McCarthy indicated on Fox News that he would bring the defense funding bill to the floor, and he projected optimism about getting an agreement this week. Since kicking off its toughest inflation-fighting campaign in 40 years, the Federal Reserve has watched the rate of inflation fall by more than half, and the job market's temperature cool from overheated to comfortable. Officials are nowhere near ready to say they're finished battling inflation, but the U.S. economy's continued prosperity is a sign that they may be able to cause minimal economic impact. It is a shift from just how dire the strong economy looked more than 1 year ago for Fed Chair Jerome Powell. The Fed's key benchmark rate is restricting the economy with the most force in more than a decade, simply because of how much higher interest rates are than inflation. Often referred to as a real level of interest, this inflation-adjusted way of assessing borrowing costs may be the Fed's most important gauge when deciding how much higher to lift rates. Oh, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video. Thank you so much, friends, for joining me here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.